rise and say the pledge. Nancy, will you call the roll?
Eckery,
Here.
Bivens,
Here.
Book,
Here.
Friel,
Here.
Gascoigne,
Here.
Hudson,
Present.
Kitson,
Got to turn the mute off, Tom.
are you there, Tom?
I'm not sure he's even hearing us.
I don't think so. He's trying to figure it out.
Tom, if you can hear us, wave.
Somebody shoot him a text. I don't have my phone. So,
I will.
Copine,
Here.
Laram,
Here.
Naylor,
Present.
Pearson, Robertson,
Here. Oh, okay.
Sheline,
Here.
Shippert,
Here.
Scrogstad,
here. Mike.
White, Wilson,
Here.
Zeman,
Here.
Olson.
Here. All right, we'll move on to announcements. Would you please mute or turn off your cell phones? We'll go on down to number 5, the approval of board minutes. There are 3 meetings that need to be approved this month. November 22nd, regular county board meeting. November 22nd, the truth and taxation hearing. And December 5th, the reorganization meeting minutes. Is there any corrections or changes to any of those meeting minutes? If none, we'll leave them stand as read. We'll move on down to the resolution appointment of Michael Pearson to fill the vacancy in County Board District 3. Because there was potential for bad weather last week, we had Nancy swear in Michael early, and the passing of this resolution will make the appointment official. So is there a motion to approve the resolution appointing Michael? Mr. Wilson moves, Mr. Hudson seconds it. Any discussion? All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Welcome to the board, Michael.
Unanimous. Thank you.
We'll go down to zoning and planning. The minutes, reports and the minutes are in your packet. Keep on moving down. We'll go to petitions. We've got petitions going to the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have none. Petitions going to the Planning Commission. We have none. Petitions coming from the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have petition 22-P-1598, it's special use community solar project, South Dixon Solar. Mr. Scrogstad, do you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion with the following conditions. I make a motion that the Lee County Board approve zoning petition 22P-1598 by Crawford One Solar LLC with the following conditions. A, permitted construction times. Construction activities shall commence no earlier than 7 a.m. and shall be discontinued no later than 8 p.m. on Monday through Saturday within 1/4 mile of a non-participating residence unless a waiver is obtained from the affected non-participating resident. B, drain tile survey. Petitioner is required to provide the Lee County Zoning and Planning Office with evidence of having done a drain tile survey before a building permit is issued. C, drain tile repair. If it is found that any subsurface drainage tile is damaged within the proposed site, such damage be repaired to the same manner or better condition within 1 month. D, surface drainage patterns. Petitioner is required before being issued a building permit to provide a map of the surface water drainage patterns within the development area to the Lee County Zoning and Planning Office. E, the SHPO acceptance. Petitioner is required before being issued a building permit to show Lee County Zoning and Planning Office the acceptance of the Tetra Tech Archaeological Survey by the SHPO before a building permit is issued. Number F, if security cameras, the petitioner due to on-site criminal activity wishes to install one or more security cameras, the Crawfords must receive written permission to do so and to ensure that any such cameras be focused into the development area and not capture any images from nearby real estate. Manufacturer specifications. Petitioner is required to provide the Lee County Zoning and Planning Office with manufacturers' equipment specifications for the equipment to be installed in the SES before a building permit is issued. H, fire protection plan. Petitioner is required to provide the Lee County Zoning and Planning Office with suitable fire protection plan before a building permit is issued. Screening. Petitioner is required to provide Lee County Zoning and Planning Office with evidence before a building permit is issued that they have contacted the landowners adjacent to the proposed development on the southwest to give them their ordinance screening options. Landscape plan. Petitioner is required to provide Lee County Zoning and Planning Office with acceptable written landscape plan before the issuance of a building permit. K, foundation and design. Petitioner is required to provide the Lee County Zoning and Planning Office with professional engineer certificate that the foundation and design of the solar panels is within professional accepted standards prior to the issuance of a building permit. Of the solar panels is within a professional acceptance. Oh, I already read that. L, power and communication lines. The power and communication lines running between the banks of solar panels shall be buried underground except from point of the intersecting to the existing utility-owned above-ground electric wires. If the lines are not buried, a solar cable management system or similar technology must be utilized. When lines are buried underground, the county zoning administrator, when or after granting a building permit, may grant variances when shallow bedrock, watercourses, or other elements of nature landscape interfere with the ability to bury the lines. And I would like to make a motion that the Lee County Board approves petitions 22P 1599 by Crawford 1A Solar LLC with the same conditions that were approved under the petition of 22P 1598 by Crawford 1 Solar LLC.
Hey, Jack, let's do one at a time. We'll do 1598, and then you can tie them same conditions to the next motion. We have a first. Do we have a second? Ms. Naylor, you want to second that? We have a second. Any discussion? Yes. Mr. Copino.
Mr. Scrogstad read off letter A in the stipulations of the proposal. I don't show it here on the copy that we have. Is it down further?
I have,
Okay.
I have
Just, you
the,
gotta scroll down, Mike.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? Yes, Mr. Pearson.
End of life with the solar panels. Is there any proposed decommission?
Alice,
Policy.
would you like to address this with what's in our ordinance?
Good evening. Yes, there is a decommissioning plan in place that is required prior to the issuance of a building permit. So they would not be able to construct without that plan in place.
What are they required to put up for money for for this process?
I believe
1.5 times or whatever they
I would have
recommended?
to check because it's not that the current ordinance that we just passed, it's 125% of the total decommissioning cost. I would have to go back and check what this ordinance requires.
So explain to them that process, the decommissioning, and the county holds the money. So we got new board members. Let's all.
Yes, the county requires security funds to be held on behalf of the project, either letter of credit, they can post a bond, but some form of monetary funds must be secured by the county as part of their decommissioning plan.
The county holds that in case we need to decommission it if they go bankrupt or some other problem arises. While you're here, Isles, the conditions that Jack read were not the exact conditions that come out of ZBA. Would you like to explain why we took the one out?
Yes, so under paragraph A, we added the line, unless a waiver is obtained from the affected non-participating resident with regard to construction times. We've set construction times, however, this enables the petitioner to reach out directly and coordinate with the landowner. So if the landowner says, yeah, we don't mind you working 7 days a week, they sign a waiver, and that allows the petitioner to proceed. The next one would have been under letter K, foundation and design. We added prior to the issuance of a building permit to that paragraph, just to provide a time frame that they would have to provide that by. So we have tied it to the issuance of the building permit. And paragraph L, we had to change, we suggest changing that. What the zoning board offered was no waiver for above ground cabling. This would not allow them to get a waiver to place the lines above ground, which is what these companies are moving to, especially with the smaller projects. It is in our new current solar ordinance. And so what we have done is we've taken the language out of our current ordinance and made it a condition of this one so that they are directed to run the lines underground, but if they do, they have to use a cable management system to maintain the wires in a neat fashion. And then if they run into any issues underground, then they could come back to the zoning office for a variance. Those were the changes that we propose.
Any questions, comments? Thank you, Alice. So we have a first, second, and discussion. All those in favor of passing this signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries the way I see it. Was that Angie? You want to make sure she's done? Thank you. We'll go to number 2. I need to back up in your packet and you're on board. You'll see C under in the zoning. We took C out because there's no action we need to do. It says Lisa appeal with Carl and Kathy. The petition number there, that's just a process that goes through. We don't have to vote on that as a board. So I apologize. I should explain that as we went through. So anyhow, we'll go back to D, number 2. I got petition 22-P-1599, special use for community solar project, South Dixon Solar. Is there a motion to approve the resolution? Jack, would you like to?
I'll make that motion with the following conditions.
You don't have to read them again, just with the same conditions as the last one. Would you be all right with that?
I'm fine with that if the rest of the board's fine with the same conditions I read off today.
Does anybody need them to read them again? I think they're up here on the screen. They're in your packet. Thank you. Do I have a second? Ms. Naylor seconds it. Any discussion? Why don't we do a roll call vote?
Book,
Yes.
Friel,
Yes.
Gascoigne,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Kitson,
Yes. Yes.
Copine,
Yes.
Lyrum,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Sheline,
Yes.
Shippert,
No.
Scrogstead,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zeman,
Yes.
Ackery,
Yes.
Bill. Bivens,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Seventeen yes, one no.
Motion carried. Thank you. We'll go to E. Petitions coming from the planning commission are none. We'll go down to number 8 on our agenda. An administrator monthly update and board member comments. Wendy, do you got anything you want to share with us?
I do, just a couple of announcements. I wanted to let you all know that the planning grant that it was an United States EDA planning grant that we applied for to do the planning road study around Stewart Rochelle corridor. We did successfully get that grant. So we're looking forward over the next year of working with consultants to actually do the study around that area and determine the best routing for industrial traffic in and around Stewart and south of Rochelle there. So just wanted to let you know that. And also, we are still looking for a board member that is willing to take on the position as representative to the Tri-County Opportunities Council. This was a position that Marvin Williams filled for many years, so we haven't needed to worry about it for many years, and we have an opening for that. And just to give you an idea, for those of you who aren't familiar, and I'm literally reading from their website here, Tri-County's mission is to investigate the impact of poverty throughout our 9-county service area, and they work in partnership with individuals, families, and communities to provide opportunities that support movement towards stability and self-sufficiency. So that's kind of their mission or their motto. If anybody's interested in serving as the board representative on Tri-Counties, please let us know. We haven't found somebody willing to do that just yet. And that's all I have, Bob. I'm interested, Wendy.
Thank you, Angie. I'll write you down write her down before she
Thanks.
changes her mind.
Don't let her change your mind. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, now's the time for board members' comments. Nobody wants to speak? If none, we'll go down to item 9, public comments. If you're speaking on items on the agenda, which I have 2, you're allowed 10 minutes. We'll start out with Mark Cicchetti.
I'm here to speak about the Lowell Park speed limit. I am the one that went to the board in 2020 to get the speed reduced to 45. Jim Sheeline was very helpful with that, along with Mr. Nicholson, who was the board chair at the time, because I did not know how to do any of this, and it's still rather confusing. Mr. Sheeline is very familiar with the road. I actually live on Lowell Park Road, and I'm right at the top of the hill, just north of the park before you head down to Forest Park. If you're coming towards that hill from the south heading north, you cannot see what's over the other side of that hill until you get to my driveway, which is right at the top of that hill. And vice versa. When you're coming from the north and going south, you cannot see anything south until you get to the top of that hill. I have been pushed past my driveway in the past by people coming up behind me, and I had to keep going down to Forest Park to turn around. My neighbors have had the same issue. It's a very high deer car accident area, probably one of the highest in the county. It is also one of the highest volumes of traffic on any county highway in Lee County. And I talked to Jack about that during the UTV committee, and I believe it was, memory serves me right, it's busier than Route 26 or 52 coming into Lee County. The volume is very high every day, and the speed was very high, and it still is. It was always posted a yellow 45 as a residential area, and a yellow 45 is not enforceable. It has to be a black and white posted speed limit sign, and that's what I requested as a 45. The board did a very good job, in my opinion, listening to the information that I brought them. I brought them every residence from Timber Creek Road to the county line that had to enter or exit Lowell Park Road. And there's a lot. I did not bring that today. Actually think that should be up to the Lee County Board to be doing that research, not me. There was a speed study done. And I noticed in the meeting minutes from the current push to raise this to 55, there's no reference to what the speed study showed in 2020 when it was done. I requested that speed study through John Nicholson, who talked to the engineer, and it was done within a month. So I would think that you would want to reference the old speed study before you take into account the new speed study, so you can see what it was like when it was posted at 55. So you can all see, I'll just briefly read from an article that was in the paper about the speed limit. And it's basically the same thing the board said. Study found that 88% of drivers were violating the current limit of 45, which is a black and white posted. And there are 16 45-mile-an-hour speed limit signs on that section of road, 8 going north and 8 going south. They did a very good job posting it. The average for about 85% of drivers was 59 miles per hour in a 45. I would also like to say that in April of 21, after this was passed to 45 in October of 20, I went and spoke with the Lee County Sheriff, Simonton, about the speed. And I told him it had been 6 months since it had been changed. You know, there was definitely a learning curve for people. And I also said, I'm not looking to get everybody driving 52 miles an hour speeding ticket, but it needs to slow down. We need some squads out there doing the job. I personally haven't seen a squad sitting out on that road. I know some of my neighbors have occasionally seen a squad. So enforcement actually is the issue. It's not raising the speed limit back, because we know 55 turns into 65 or 69, just as 45 is 56 to 59 miles per hour. Now, I am going to reference a meeting that was in this room on May 25th of 22, and it was a UTV committee meeting. And one of the members on that committee was also a member on the Transportation Committee. And I was here for that UTV committee meeting, and I had some comments on that. After the meeting was over, I spoke to this board member, and I addressed to him my concern about the speed limit, because he was also on the Transportation Committee. And I requested that, let me back up just a little bit. When I spoke to the sheriff, he asked me if I could give him specific times or days that the traffic is worst. And I leave for work at 7, get home at 4. So I told him, you need to look at the speed study to see what the speed study says. But basically I told him it's all day, every day. So at this meeting for the UTV, I asked the member on the Transportation Committee to, if it could request a new speed study so that the sheriff could be supplied with a new speed study since the speed had been changed. And this member told me, well, how about if I get a new speed study done, and since the parameters of the last speed study didn't quite reach that 45 level, we'll change it back to 55. And he said that to me in a very threatening tone. And he repeated it twice. And there's a Lee County employee that was standing right there at that time that conversation was happening. And they then went to this room right here, because that person said they wanted to speak to him about something. And I waited because I wasn't finished talking to that committee member. And when he came out, he had a much more pleasant tone and said that he was not going to request the speed study to change it to 55. So if you look at the time frame, that was May of 2022. The meters were put on the road on July 13th and 14th of 2022, just after that May confrontation with that board member. The earliest notation in the Lee County Transportation and Solid Waste Committee referencing speed study was September 12th. So we went from May, when I was threatened, the technical data was gathered on 13th and 14th of July. September, there's a mention about possibly doing a study. October, again, says as time allows, the department will consider another speed study on Lowell Park Road and present the findings to the committee. And the final was 1110, which I assume you all have seen. It's the actual numbers on the speed study. So there's that. And I also would be willing to, I mean, I've said it, it's true, and that's exactly what happened. The traffic is, I mean, I've already told you, the traffic's terrible out there. If you live there, you have to be very, very cautious. And if you drive on that road, you should be very, very cautious. There are no road shoulders in many places. And that's one of the things that that got this passed down to a 45-mile-an-hour limit to begin with. If you're going to vote on this, you need to talk to the people that live there. You need to drive into the driveways to see the blind spots that we face every day. You should, I mean, I pull out of my drive and I got somebody on my butt immediately. I guess my time is up. I would appreciate you thinking about the safety of the people that live and pay taxes in Lee County and live on that road. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Move on to, I got a Thomas Hale.
Thank you for listening to me tonight. This is my first time here. My name's Thomas Hall. I'm a retired traffic engineer from IDOT, 30 years. I live off of Lowell Park Road, and it's a busy street, very busy road. To put it bluntly, 45 is almost too high for the traffic that's on there. From the time that I began talking to you until right now, that's the difference in time from 45 to 55 miles per hour from Pilgrim Road to where 35 miles per hour is. 37 seconds difference, okay? 37 seconds. You think about that. That amount of time that I just talked is the difference in time that it takes. I would say 3-4 times weekly, we drive on that road where somebody comes up behind us, never slows down. I'm going 45. Yep. And they fly past me, go to the stoplight, and then I pull up behind them at the stoplight. You know, I mean, they aren't saving any time. If you're in such a hurry, leave 37 seconds difference in time. The semis that come through at between 4 and 6 o'clock in the morning, every one of them that's going to the north, you can hear them come through the valley and they're flying. There's no way that they're going 45. They're going 65 to 70 miles an hour. Grain trucks coming in the fall, same thing. They fly. If you want to have your heart pouring out of you, get a phone call at work that says that your son, young and experienced driver, pulls out from the subdivision and gets nailed by somebody coming over a blind curve. She was going over 80 miles an hour when she hit him in the side. Luckily, everybody was okay. The officer that came that day said, anytime that you can stand here and talk about that accident afterwards, that wasn't a bad thing. But then come upon an accident coming into town, Timber Creek. Twice I've had that happen. One time we were on our way to church. And there's a car, there's one sitting up on the side, up in the field. There's another one laying down in the ditch, and he's like laying funny. Glass and debris everywhere. My father climbed up into the car to help the lady that was in there. We're the first on the scene. Another time, I'm coming, a friend of mine lived in the subdivision across the street from Lowell Park. We were usually going to work same time, one or the other was in front of us. That morning, he happened to be just in front of me. He got T-boned at Lowell Park. Drove him way down into the cornfield. Both vehicles were totaled. I didn't even know that there was another vehicle down in the field. It was so far down there that it hit so hard. Enforcement or lack thereof. You would probably know something about how that takes place. Having spoken with both Lee and Ogle County officers, and they had similar ideas, that when is a better time to enforce it. I tried to give ideas, but I mean, it's constant during the day. It does make a lot of difference which time. There's more traffic at certain times, yes. It comes both ways though, traffic. Sometimes too, you hear somebody coming through there, they're going 80, 90, 95 miles an hour. You hear a motorcycle coming through and you just hear, and so. We've talked about, the gentleman before me talked about the traffic study. I wonder if crashes were considered in that traffic study. I don't know. I didn't see it, so I can't say. If I saw it, I could have some kind of an idea. But yes. Speaking of deer, there's less deer accidents this year. I don't know if there's less deer. If you drive past the prison, you can see that there's 75 deer in the field. So I mean, there's still a lot of deer around, but there's actually been less. In years past, there's always been 5 or 6 by my home before deer hunting. There was 2 deer this year laying there. I don't think anybody picked up any more of them. So I think that's been reduced with the 45, just because people are more aware of it. But I think enforcement of the 45 would go a long ways to slow the traffic down. I think voting for it to go up to 55 miles an hour would be a very, very big mistake. Safety is the big thing. It's always been safety. Everything that I did as a traffic engineer was about safety. We changed our guardrails because of safety. We fix the roads. We widen the roads. We do everything we can about safety. Safety is here. Okay. What is one life worth? And we just had somebody that was killed at Timber Creek. What is one life worth with that? That's all I can really say. Safety. We have to be safe out there, and keeping it at 45, I think, will keep the road safe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Now I have Jeff Thomas. Would you like to get up?
My name's Jeff Thomas. I live on Low Park Road. I got a small business on there, and say the speed limit and stuff too. I know when it was 55, I remember that. I said it was 55 all the way down to Dairy Queen, and that got reduced to 45. And you started seeing all the accidents, at Timber Creek, where that transition changed. And you're still getting that. I mean, because everybody, the 45 mile an hour sign or 45 mile an hour speed limit in front of my house there. There's still more than 45. It's 55, 65. I said, I can hear them coming up over the hill over there by, just top of the hill there, basically where the water department's got their building there. I mean, you can hear the wind from the cars coming down the road because you can tell the sound of the wind, which cars are going faster or slower, whichever. I said, now I have people come in the shop there, and when they leave, sometimes they want to back out, and I'll tell them, no, you take time, turn around. I said, it's too dangerous to back out of there because you don't know what's going to come flying over top the hills. Timber Creek, there's always accidents there. I said, and I know several deer, same thing. And the speed, I know Burrs, they live right there close to the, where the tracks used to be. And his father was turning in there and he got rear-ended there and got hauled off in an ambulance there. So I mean, it's, like I said, I'm not the perfect driver by no means, but I still think 45 is correct to stay there because they're not abiding by it, and I've called in asking to get somebody out there to watch it. And sometimes it seems like it's to no avail. I don't know if they don't know what they ask what time to come out there. I mean, it varies. It's always, there's no certain time that somebody's flying by, but usually evenings. I mean, depends on the day. So I said, I think saying at 45 is the right thing to do. Just for the safety of everybody else, for us people that live there walking across the road to get their mail. It's all on the west side of the road, so you got to cross the road. So that's all I got, I guess.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to number 10, county organization presentations and updates. We have none. We'll go right into 11, county services, the reports of committee, county services. Mr. Scrogstad.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The minutes are in your packet, but there's a couple of things that I wanted to just to kind of point out a little bit. When we met for our first county service meeting, we had 2 new board members and some of the new department heads were there, and they got to introduce themselves and explain a little bit what was going on. One of the new things with the county services is we brought on the transportation department into this particular. They're usually were their own, so it's going to be a little challenging for that department. So I hope Dave gives us some leeway on a learning, having his department with us. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Paul Gorski, the IT director, kind of talked a little bit about getting emails for all of us. And so I encourage with the recommendation from the state attorney's office that when we get our own emails, that we get it all set up, and ask for help if you're having a difficult time getting it set up, but to help with keeping our emails in this, to business only for the county. So again, if there's any questions, a lot of it was in the minutes, but those are just a couple of the highlight items I wanted to mention.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Scrogstad? Thanks, Jack. We'll go to Black Hawk Hills Regional Council. Ms. Shippard, I don't know if there's a meeting. Did they have a meeting yet, or?
I believe the next one is in January.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll go to Claims Committee. Mr. Zeman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 2 meetings to report on. First one is minutes are in your packet. November 23rd at 9 a.m. we met. We reviewed 61 claims and we only had to fix one of them, and the rest were passed on. And that's it for the November meeting. The next one was December 7th at 9 a.m. New committee members. So we went over some of the procedures of the claims committee meeting. We went through 28 claims in that meeting. And I look forward to getting all my members versant on the software to do claims. And that's my report.
Any questions for Mr. Zeman? Thanks, Mike. Executive Committee, I got the minutes are in your packet. If there's any questions? If none, we'll move on to the Finance Committee. Mr. Sheeline.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Finance Committee met on December 15th and had pretty much a light schedule. It's, of course, in your packet. Some comments I want to make is, of course, at the year end. From last month, we'd projected that the county would have a very healthy surplus and end the year in a very positive manner. That did come to fruition. Paul, do you want to make any comments about the year end in regards? Was there anything different from? Yeah. So very positive. Again, I think last month I discussed a little bit about the reasons why we ended up the year the way we did. So again, at the Finance Committee meeting, we spent some time talking about what we're going to be doing here in the next year as we move forward, the things that we really have to pay attention to as far as the trends of the income coming in from the county. And that's specifically personal property replacement tax, the state income tax, and the sales taxes. The property tax at the county level levies, that's pretty much assured. There's going to be some tweaking there, and there's going to be some differences. But the real question mark for the county's income is those three, basically those three things. So that's what the other thing I'd comment on in regards to how we ended up the year. I want to compliment the department heads. The department heads are critical in what they do is how, we go through the budget process and that's can be odorous and sometimes contentious. But at the end of the day, it's up to the department heads to see that the budget is met and hopefully that they're able to restrain expenses so that they can return some money back to the county so that we ended up the year is positive and that happened this year. So even with the challenges like in the sheriff's department, the challenges with overtime and fuel, there was savings in other areas that actually made things work out well. So having said that, there was a couple of minor items. One item that I would point out: family food basket donation event. That's simply a pass through. That's something that the chairman had helped put together in requests from some businesses in the county that were asking what can we do during the holiday period. So that got organized in conjunction with Lots and I can't remember, Health Department. And so, but that's the Finance Committee had to approve it simply because it's handling money, but it's to no cost to the taxpayer, no cost to the county. The other, you'll see in our minutes, the appellate prosecutor's office resolution. That's a housekeeping item in regards to Charlie's district attorney's office. And then we had an item that was tabled. And that was it. So if there's any other questions for me, I'll be happy to take them.
Any questions for Mr. Sheeline? None, thanks, Jim. We'll go to the Health Department. Ms. White's not here tonight, so there'll be no report. 911 Board, Mr. Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing further to report in addition to which has already been submitted to the board by Director Dallas, and it's in the packet. Our next meeting will be January 26, 2023.
All right. Any questions for Keen? Thanks, Keen.
Thank you.
Public Safety and Court Services Committee, Mr. Copine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public Safety met on December 12th in this room. I'm not going to read everything that's there, but one of the key topics is the financial cost or burden that this new law that goes into effect in January, the Fairness Act, was commented on by those board department members that were here that evening. And believe it or not, come January 1st, pardon me, it's going to leave major impact on the cost for some of the functions of the county. The department heads that have services for the courts and other departments as well will be expected to work now on Saturdays and Sundays relating to some of the effects of the arrests and the activities each of those departments have functions with. So they're very meticulously working on different methods to try and compensate and keep that cost to the county board and the county down to as much minimal as possible. Otherwise, everything else is in the board minutes. We had no unfinished business that we went over, and we did not have any executive meeting to discuss. We did test the onboard voting system of all the new laptops that everybody is in possession of, and that seems to be ironing out quite well and is going to be well worth the investment in it. That's all I have. If anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them.
Any questions for Mr. Copine? None. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Of course, we have no tri-counties to report. Tourism, Mr. Gascoigne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing to report on Lee County Tourism at this time.
Thank you. We'll go down to UCCI, Mr. Kitson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There is no report. There was no meeting yet.
All right. Thank you. Now we'll move down to number 12, the unfinished business, the Lowell Park speed zone. It was held over in November. The speed limit was previously changed from 55 to 45. Recently, the Highway Department was asked to revisit the matter and see if the changes were effective. Another study was done in July of 2022, which showed little change. At the recommendation of the committee, the speed limit was bumped back up to 55. Is there a motion to approve the Lowell Park speed zone ordinance? Is there a motion to approve it? I'll ask one more time if there's a motion to approve. If none, we'll let it die for lack of a motion. So it remains at 45. Everybody? All right, we'll move down to number 8, the new business. As Jim mentioned earlier, the resolution for the Appellate Prosecutor's Office is an annual resolution that allows the Appellate Prosecutor's Office to assist the State's Attorney's Office with appeals and conflicts. The cost was budgeted, it's in the budget. Is there a motion to approve the Appellate Prosecutor's Office resolution? Ms. Naylor moves, Mr. Hudson seconds it. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll go to B. We got a resolution, revisions to the zoning and building permit fees. Is there a motion to approve the resolution revisions to the zoning and building permit fees? Mr. Friel moves, Mr. Copine seconds. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. We'll go down to the resolution with the county board meeting dates for fiscal year 2023. The meeting dates are in your onboard. Is there a motion to approve the resolution setting the county board meeting dates for the fiscal year 2023? Ms. Naylor, do I have a second? Mr. Gascoigne seconds it. Any discussion? If no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. As you can see on D, it's just informational. The schedules were included in the agenda for informational purpose only. So now we go down to some more housekeeping, the resolution for motor fuel tax maintenance for 2023. Is there a motion to approve the motor fuel tax maintenance resolution for 2023? Mr. Scroudstead moves. Mr. Gascoigne seconds it. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Motion carried. We'll go to item F, the food basket donation event. I'm going to ask Wendy to explain that, maybe if she can, go through.
So this actually tags off of what Finance Chair Jim Sheline was mentioning earlier. There was an opportunity to partner with the Health Department lots and the county to provide food baskets. They did end up putting together 26 food baskets that did go out to needy families. We're hoping that this might be something we'll do on an annual basis, but to summarize what Jim Sheline mentioned earlier, this is really a pass-through. So we've got entities within the county, some renewable energy companies and other entities that are from time to time interested in doing some community support, and they ask for ways to help with community support. And this was one of the ways that we thought they could help. So they don't make the donation. And again, the partnership between Lots Health Department and the county board put the baskets together, bought the food, put the baskets together, and got them delivered.
Thank you. I think Aldi's helped and Walmart worked with us on it. And also, I think we're going to have roughly $1,000 left over. So we'll just put that a donation to the food pantry. So that sums up that. And like she said, I'd like to probably expand on that maybe next year. These companies call me and ask how they can help the community, and I thought that was a good way to start. So if anybody else got any better ideas, talk to me after the meeting and we'll get set up for next year. All right. Let's keep moving. We'll go to G, the board rules and procedures. Is there a motion to approve the revision to the board rules and procedure? Let's get a motion in a second, and then we'll go through what they are. Mr. Scrogstad moves. Mr. Friel seconds it. Wendy, would you like to give us a quick synopsis of what we changed?
Absolutely. Two primary changes here. If you recall, in the latter part of 2022, we did revise board rules and eliminated some committees, consolidated committees. After further review, there was a discussion and a decision to expand and go back to having a formerly known as Properties, now known as Facilities Maintenance Committee. We have millions of dollars worth of property that we own, and we also know we've got some very large capital projects. As Tom Wilson's been telling you for months now, we've got some big capital projects. So this committee will focus on the overall day-to-day operations of the maintenance department and those capital projects and the overall maintenance of facilities. So your new board rules now reestablishes that as a standing committee. The second item that we added in here was a reference to a Labor Relations Committee. The Labor Relations Committee has always existed. It was never referenced in your board rules, but rather it was referenced in the employee handbook and some of the union contracts. Labor Relation Board essentially steps in to help resolve what may be unresolved issues between a elected official or department head and an employee. It's set up in such a way that, and has always been set up in such a way that the committee is named at the time that there is a complaint or a concern that comes up. So that gives the chairman the flexibility to be able to name committee members that, will avoid a conflict. And sometimes we have conflicts with board members. But it also allows the board chairman to be flexible enough to name members of that committee based on the particular situation that's come forward. Some board members have more expertise in one area or another. So we thought it was prudent to codify the Labor Relations Committee in your board rules, where it never really had been before. It just been referenced in the employee handbook and those union contracts. I would be happy to entertain any questions about either of those adjustments to the board rules, if there are any.
Any questions or comments? All right, thanks, Wendy. We have first and a second and discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. So now we'll go down to the resolution establishing the zoning ordinance review ad hoc committee. I'm really not prepared at this time. I would like to make a recommendation if we could table this. If somebody'd like to make that motion to table, I think that Mr. Hudson moves, Mr. Wilson seconds it. I just feel that we need more time to put some things together on this. So all those in favor signify by saying to table it, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. The battery energy storage system moratorium extension. It was approved during the August 2022 county board meeting and expired on November 30th, 2022. The ordinance is not quite completed. This resolution would extend the moratorium until March 31st, 2023. Let's get a motion and a second, and then we'll have the discussion on why we feel we need to do this. Do I have a motion to approve the moratorium extension to March 31st? Mr. Wilson? Ms. Naylor seconds it. Discussion, of course, the moratorium ran out. We're not prepared, and we don't want somebody to come in the county if we don't have an ordinance in place. So we need to extend the moratorium until we have some sort of ordinance. Any other comments or questions while we're doing this? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. We'll go down to appointments. We got a resolution reappointing Robert Thompson to the Lee County Sheriff's Merit Commission. The request form is in your onboard. Is there a motion to approve Mr. Thompson to the Lee County Sheriff's Merit Commission? Mr. Wilson moves, Mr. Scroggs seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No, same sign. Motion carried. The resolution appointing Ally Huss as the alternative member of the Zoning Board of Appeals, ZBA. The county request form is in your onboard. Is there a motion to approve the resolution appointing Ally Huss as the alternative member on the Zoning Board of Appeals? Ms. Shippert moves, Mr. Scroggs seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. This next resolution appointing Amir Ramadani, the Reagan Mass Transit District trustee. I've had others inquire about being on this. We've got one position to fill. I would ask if we could table that. If I get a motion from the floor to table that till we sort it out. Mr. Copine moves. Mr. Wilson seconds it. All those in favor to table that till next month, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I have no executive session. Oh, I didn't have that on my, let's go back to that. Where is it?
So the rest of the board members probably noticed that we had a test of the onboard voting system on your agenda. Did you notice that? So we're going to actually back up for just a little bit. So if you can scroll back up to where that was, we are going to test and see if this works. Most of you got an opportunity to do this during committee meetings. But if you didn't, this is going to be your opportunity. So Nancy is going to go into the view approval here. Nancy, if you're going to watch what she's doing up here, and she is going to take what is a draft, draft. And she's going to open the voting. Now, normally the way this is going to work is, first of all, the chairman has the latitude to be able to just do a voice vote like he's been doing so far on some of the things this evening. Your board rules are going to allow it for things like approving minutes, some of the more perfunctory things that you do. But most of your voting going forward, once we launch this voting system, is going to be done by using your tablet and your onboard voting system. So tonight is just intended to be a test to make sure that everybody starts to get comfortable with this process. So I need you to find in your agenda where that's said and find that view. I think you had a view approval. Tom, view approval. And if you have any trouble finding it, let me know. And if you click on view approval, it should pop up. It should pop up. Where are you at?
Do I have anything else? I voted yes. What else? I
know, that's what I'm saying.
don't know where it was. Yeah, it's not a.
You are the man. Wendy, I've found that if you close the book and open it back up, it'll be there.
Thanks, Jack. So close, can you collapse all? So we're having trouble closing the book, Jack, so we need you to come over here and help us use these tablets and close the book. You've got it, Mike. You're in the right place. You already voted. Mike's already voted.
No.
Okay.
So what do you?
I
got?
think I did.
How do you get it?
Yours not doing it either? Okay, right there, scroll down right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I keep getting.
You approve it, okay.
go, go back to your calendar. Are you, oh, that's the organizational meeting.
Yeah.
Here's the county board meeting, reschedule, go down. I don't even see this on, oh, there it is.
All right, thank you.
Especially for.
It's not doing it.
It's not doing it.
Nope, you're right. So I know that some of you are having glitches. This is exactly why we do tests. You're ready to go.
I went all the way out.
Sometimes like, oh, you're all good to go. You're all good. Good.
Try it again.
Yes.
All right, so this is why we do tests.
I think you also get a notification at the top. You could probably scroll down and.
Yeah, it tells you you voted. So now I close the voting.
So, yeah, the way, I know that some of you have not been able to vote because it's not working. We're going to have to work through that. But for right now, those of you that that you found the right button to vote, have you voted? So what's going to happen is the board chair, as we do this, he's going to call for, he's going to open the vote. Nancy or the meeting clerk is going to open the vote. And then he's going to give you a little bit of time to vote. If you put your finger on the wrong vote, you can go back and push the yes, no, or abstain and correct a vote. At some point, the chairman's going to say, I'm going to close the vote, and he'll give you one warning, and then he'll say again, I'm going to close the vote. He ends up closing the vote, and so why don't you formally do that? You want to close the vote? I know some of you haven't gotten a chance to vote yet, but.
We're going to close the vote.
And what is up with our screen time?
Yeah.
Tom's hiding.
Pretty sure I have to go back to the test vote part.
All right, so Nancy's going to go ahead. Oh, let's give Nancy Naylor one more second. Jack's helping down there.
What do we have? Can't see.
Who else besides Nancy really never found the right spot? Chris, you didn't? Okay, all right.
There's, if you go to test vote down here.
Yeah, it'll say test vote.
But I've done that once already.
And I did it with her too, Jack. I don't know why hers isn't showing. All right, Nancy, go ahead and close. So Nancy closes the vote up here on the screen. So the meeting clerk closes it. Sure. And then what happens is it pops up here on the screen and it gives us the results. So if you scroll down, if Nancy scrolls down just a little bit, you can see that we had 9 yes votes. We had 1 no vote. We had 2 people that abstained, and we had 8 people that had no vote. That's because we were having some problems, I assume.
What about Mr. Kitson and Liram? Their votes, did it work where they're at?
Tom and Liram, are you online?
Half the time it is. I am, Wendy, but I'm not on my tablet. I'm on another computer, so I don't really have access to it.
Okay, so you're not in onboard then?
Correct.
All right, Liram, are you in onboard? Liram has his hand on. He's asking a question.
Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Liram. You're muted, I think.
So Nancy, you want to scroll down and show that, okay, so when we vote this way, assuming you can vote this way, Nancy was not able to, it is going to end up showing you exactly who voted in what way. So that information will be available. That information is also supposed to then import into the minutes documents automatically. So the meeting clerks will not have to type everybody's name and type the way they voted each time. That'll help be more efficient when she does the minutes. Obviously, we still have some things to work through. Yes, Jack?
Yeah, so in the case, like with Nancy not being able to get her book open, what will our process be? Okay, we're having a division of the House. We've got 4 people that aren't voting. Will we go then and do that by voice?
I think that's what we're going to have to do.
And then Nancy will have to record that and then put that in
Yes.
manually.
Yes, I am
Is that-
sure
we got
hoping
that-
that we have
we got
these
that
kinks
built.
worked out, but yes, in lieu of that, absolutely, we have to have a.
This is really weird. We backed her out
I
like
was
4
standing there. I
times.
did hers too. It is weird.
Yeah. So.
But I was looking at Mr. Sheeline, it showed him as not voting, but I'm cheating and looking on his paper. He voted no, but there's like a no vote.
I voted yes.
Oh, you voted yes? It looked like.
I voted no.
You got the-
I
you
show
got the
a
right
no vote
iPad?
for him.
You know, somebody had.
I was a no vote?
Yeah, you're labeled as a no vote.
No, it's.
You see what Nancy's
What I-
got up there?
What I mean by a no vote is he didn't vote.
Right, he did not vote, correct.
But
Right,
yeah,
it did not get recorded correctly. So that was
Yeah,
not
I'm
really a
looking on his.
successful test, guys. We're going to keep working on it, all right? But thanks for going through the paces with me. Bob, I'll tie off this conversation and call it unsuccessful.
Yeah, well, I think we'll keep trying it in committee till we get it down. So,
Voter fraud. Mine worked in the committee.
all right.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this meeting up. We'll go to approval of county officers' reports, quarterly treasurer's report. I have the circuit clerk report and the county clerk report. Is there a motion to approve the county officers' reports and the quarterly treasurer's report? Mr. Wilson and Mr. Sheeline seconds it. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We'll go to approval of monthly revenue report, claims paid in vacation, and payroll paid. Is there a motion to approve the monthly report, claims paid in vacation, and payroll paid? Mr. Naylor moves and Mr. Scrogstad seconds it. Any discussion? None. We're going to have to do this a roll call vote with Nancy.
Frail,
Yes.
Gascoigne,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Kitson,
Yes.
Copine,
Yes.
Laram,
Yes.
Naylor,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Sheeline,
Yes.
Shippert,
Yes.
Scrogstad,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Zeman,
Yes.
Eckery,
Yes.
Bivens,
Yes.
Book, Mr. Book,
Stepped out.
Olson.
Yes. Motion carried. We'll go to approval of board members' mileage and per diem. I need a motion to approve that. Mr. Wilson moves. Mr. Copine seconds it. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Bob, not for discussion purposes, but I did want to let everyone know that, in particular, the new board members, these mileage and per diem reports are typically, Becky collects all of the meetings that you attend. She submits the mileage and per diem for the meetings that you attended. And then the following month, they move through for board payment. This month is a little bit unique, but if you don't get a check this month, even though you attended a meeting, it has to do with the timing of, number one, when payroll goes out, but also number two, of when these mileage and per diem reports are approved. If you have ever have any questions about it, just give one of Becky or myself a phone call and we can hopefully answer it.
Exactly, like Angie, the meetings and your tourism meetings, you just got to come in and fill out a per diem with Becky when you come back, and we'll figure it out and make sure you get paid for them.
Yeah, because Becky can keep track of the meetings where you attend committee meetings and full board meetings here. But if you're attending meetings out and about, such as, tourism or Blackhawk Hills or those meetings, we're not always aware that you're attending them. So you do need to just come back in and fill out a report, and we'll get you listed on this monthly report.
Any questions on that? And you explained that they're going to get paid next month?
Yes. So the typical process is that during the month of December, for example, Becky will collect all of those and she will present them for approval at the following month in January. There is something a little unique about this month in that we wanted to get the board members that retired from the board all taken care of. So there's some additional payments being made in this month only because we wanted them to have their W-2 reflect everything in 2022 and not have them get a W-2 for a meeting a year from now. So there's a little bit unique situation going on with this month, but normally we're a month behind.
Exactly. Any questions or comments? If you do, we're going to be around here. Look us up after the meeting. We can help you out. You might already had a meeting and never got paid to put it down, so we can still back up and do that. So I need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Wilson? Mr. Robertson seconds it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.